from going to the National for several years. I've seen him at the National over the years. Hung out with him and a big crew, kind of like after the events, the show's over, people go for dinner, and then they'd meet up in the hospitality suite of one of the big hotels, and there'd be a bunch of guys, breaking products, doing whatever, and that's kind of where I met Irving. Was doing that several years ago, and a few times too. Super good guy, as you saw if you watched a bit of the episode. And if did anything stick out to you from that episode at all?
The breaking culture is really interesting to me, and it's something that I don't do a lot of group breaks or any type of really product breaks. Of course I've ripped wax as a kid, and I've done it some as an adult, but I haven't done it near as much as an adult. I've been more focused on just kind of singles and stuff. And so just listening to him talk about that and then also you had mentioned he's into other collectibles. I thought that was really interesting too, the Funko Pops and, that stuff. So that is a really interesting guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And I thought the Funko Pops thing, because on your channel, you do, you cover sports cards, of course, but you talk about action figures, you talk about graded video games, you talk about comic books, you try and spread around the collectibles from stuff other than just cards. But I realized I'd never seen an episode on your channel about Funko Pops. And in talking to Irving earlier today, I knew he was into it. I thought, that might be a good little introduction to make. And because I think your viewership on your channel kind of likes your introductory type of discussions about certain things that you're not that familiar about, it kind of it might fall right in for you. So again, maybe if you ever do an episode on Funko Pops, he's someone that you could maybe reach out to before to do a little bit of reconnaissance work on it, type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah. So by the way, welcome everybody who's just tuned in. Dustin and I were just chatting away when we went live. Legion, welcome back as always. Always a pleasure and honor to have you. One of the things I do on After Hours is I go through my mail days and I just sort of share cards, and it's nice to have a fellow content creator sharing the screen with me tonight. So Dustin, I'm gonna kind of show you a few cards I've got that came in the mail, and then I've got this COMC package that I'm gonna open up. But I'm gonna start. We'll say hello, Dave Kaplan. Welcome to the show, buddy. Good to see you. And as I told Dave earlier on Facebook Messenger, I don't think it's ever. He asked me if it's now's the time to sell a Wayne Gretzky rookie. I was like, no, I would never. I mean, I've sold ones that I had in my inventory, but my personal collection cards, I don't think I'll ever sell. And now I'm regretting selling the ones I sold earlier this year because of what's happened to the values. I say regret lightly. I don't really regret it. I took that money. I bought other cards. I'm sure I'm fine, but it's still it's still something that, you know how it is, Dustin. If it's GOAT cards, key Hall of Famer, key cards from any sport, over time they only go up in value over time.
Well, let me ask you this, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot too much here, but with hockey cards especially, there's really, that I know of, there might be 3, 4, 5 players that are really sought after. Wayne Gretzky probably being number one, I would assume.
Yeah.
How many, or I'm not going to ask you how many Wayne Gretzky rookie cards you have, but do you have more than 10? Do you have more than 50? Because I have to assume that as you are a sophisticated longtime collector and just being a hockey focused person as well, with that being kind of your number one sport, I'm guessing, to watch. Mm-hmm. I've got to assume that you've accumulated to the point where, and like you just said, you've sold some over the years, but you probably wanted to have a comfortable number to where it's like, hey, if I want to sell off 50 of these, I've still got another 200, underground somewhere. No, I'm kidding, but
sure. I hear you. I'll answer the question. Before I do, Ziggy, welcome to After Hours. Orv, welcome. Dave Jones, welcome to you. Yeah, a PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee just sold for $82,000 today or yesterday. It's a lot of money. I've never owned a PSA 9, but I can tell you, Dustin, and everybody watching, about 5-6 years ago, you could buy PSA 9s all day long for $4,500 to $5,000. Not all day long, as often as they came up. That's what they were selling for. $5,000, yeah.
For O-Pee-Chee or
O-Pee-Chee? I'm talking O-Pee-Chee. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was then. I remember buying and selling PSA 8s for $1,000. And now their 8s are now doing $10,000 sort of thing, US, right? But so For me, there was a point, before the expo that happened in July, or sorry, was it in June or the end of June? I had, I think, between my personal collection and my inventory Gretzky's, I had like 14 or 15. I sold a bunch of them in July. So now I have, I think, 2 left in my inventory and 3 in my personal collection. So I've got 5 right now. Okay. Oh, and then I also have an autographed PSA DNA copy from like an early autograph. So I have that copy as well. And so I'll tell you, my personal copies, I have a PSA 9 Tops, which is a great card. I've got a PSA 8 and a PSA 7.5 O-Pee-Chee. And then the autographed one I have is a PSA, well, it's just a PSA DNA. It's not graded. And then in my inventory, I have a PSA 8 OC and a PSA 4, but the 4 is an absolutely beautiful 4. I think it's deserved of a super premium, but I'm not. It's not something that I want to sell right now.
Yeah,
Irving, there he is. Nice to see you, Irv. We talked about you a bit. Had a great show. This is Dustin, the man I was telling you about. Ziggy says, Jeremy, do you invest more new money in hobby or more harvesting your profits? Oh, I see. Most of 2020 has been harvesting prior year's rookies and refractors. So I think what you're asking, Ziggy, is do I take money out of my bank account and purchase cards, or do I sell cards to raise money to buy cards? I think that's what you're asking, but I'm not sure. The answer to me is both. If I see a card I want, I buy it, and I kind of I just worry about it after. If I in January of 2020, I think I spent the most money I ever spent on a card. I bought a Michael Jordan BGS 9.5 Jambalaya. And I said to myself, okay, I got to sell some cards now because I put out big money into that card. So I went about my business and I sold a bunch of cards, including those Gretzky rookies I was just talking about. So in that case, I will buy a card, but then I will sometimes sell cards to replace that money in my bank account. Yeah. Other times, like if I'm at a card show, I will sell, then I'll take my stack of my wad of cash and I'll go on a shopping spree. And there's nothing like it. There's nothing like going on a shopping spree at a card show, especially if we're talking about like 5 figures. If you've done over 10 grand to sales, which nowadays 10 grand might buy you 1 or 2 cards you really love at a card show. But, before the pandemic, yeah, I would sell cards for the weekend. Let's just pull a number out of the air, 10 grand. I mean, you could walk around a card show with 10 grand and find a lot of nice cards. Not that I want to spend it all, but at least you could buy it if you wanted to. So I don't know if that answers the question, Ziggy. And I don't know that I really have the technical answer, because I just I'm buying cards every day, it seems like, and I'm selling cards regularly too, if that makes any sense. So hope that helps. How about you, Dustin? Where are you at in that kind of from that approach right now?
Yeah, I've done a lot of both. I would say this year in 2020, I put a lot of new money into cards, and I have done some. I've done some selling, and now I feel like we're kind of at a point right now where, there are cards that I want, but I need to probably sell, but I don't feel like it's a great selling time. It's just not a great time to sell, and so I'm just kind of sitting pat. But there's a handful of cards that I'm after, that I'm making room for, But right now, I'm not buying as much as I was over the last few months, which I wish that I still, I wish I'd waited a little bit on some things so that I had some extra money now but I feel like I'll be saying that forever, though, to some degree. There's always buying opportunities, always,
For sure. So. And back to the Gretzky rookies, like I've always, at every card show I've done for the past 15 years, I've always got Gretzky rookies in my showcase, anywhere from like 2 to 15 or so. And I think back now to all the PSA 8s and all the 7s and all the 6s and 5s and 4s that I've sold over the past 10 years. I've probably, like, the numbers you were throwing out before, Dustin, were kind of funny, because no, I've never had 50 at a time, or, oh, I can sell these ones because I have 200 more. No, I've never had that many. Terry Fortune, who watches my show, he's got a couple hundred Gretzky rookies, or at least 100 probably, of all grades, But if I could go back and say to myself, listen, every time I buy a Gretzky rookie, I'm going to put it away. I'm not going to sell it. I'd be a lot further ahead now, because they've gone up in value so much. And I've probably sold, over the past 15 years, I've probably sold 100 Gretzky rookies, graded in all sorts of grades. So
Wow.
But you got to churn though, right? You got to churn when you're grinding it out.
Yep, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Ziggy wants to say, congratulations, Dustin, on the Gary V show yesterday, which I did watch your video on that, Dustin. Can you get Gary V on Jeremy's show? You should recommend to his staff. It would be great for Jeremy and the hobby. Could you imagine the interview? I don't know.
Well, Jeremy will tell you, I've been trying to do that too. I'm not, and by the way, I'm not a friend of Gary. He doesn't know who I am. I don't even think he remembered me yesterday when I was on. The first time I was on, I don't think, because there were two different shows. I was on Tea with Gary V, and then yesterday I was on Coffee and Commerce talking about something totally different. But on Twitter, I do try to tag Jeremy and Ziggy together because I agree, or not Jeremy and Gary together. Because Ziggy, I do agree with you. I think that would be a great interview with Gary and Jeremy.
I wonder if I'd get a word in with him though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He likes to talk about cards, man. He loves to talk about cards.
I'd love to have him on the show. My guest on Wednesday night was Ryan Johnson, who's a card collector too, who works with Gary. So, and I didn't ask him to pull any favors. I'm not going to do that. I'll maybe get on Gary's radar myself somehow one day, or I'll meet him at the next National. I did buy a card off him at the National in 2019, and I got a picture of me and him. So I could always go up and say, Gary, remember this? And it's funny because I remember walking at his booth, and there wasn't anybody else around there at the time. He was with one of his buddies at the booth. And I think I'd walked by a couple times, just as I'm browsing all the booths, and I'm walking by one time, and he looks at his buddy and he points at me, he goes, I like that guy. And I'm pulling my little suitcase behind me, and I'm like, oh, Gary V likes me. That's kind of cool. All right, I'll buy a Kevin McHale rookie card from him. I bought a PSA 9 McHale rookie from him for $50 or something. I said to him, I go, how much? Because he had a stack of them. And I go, how much are you asking for him? He goes, $55. I go, so 50? He goes, yeah. All right.
That's awesome. Yeah, the sad part is I feel like, next year's National, he's been so talked about over the last year as cards are concerned that I think he's going to just get mobbed, I think it's going to be a totally different ballgame. I've never been to a National, but I have to assume that the one next year is going to be completely bananas because there's people like me that want to go there that haven't been, and I'm just one of a million people that are getting back in, and I'm sure that it's going to be a different story.
Yeah, man. I think I agree, man. I think next year's National is going to be outrageously crazy and fun. And it's almost going to be like, if you go, I usually go to the National for 3 to 4 days. I know I don't usually go from like Tuesday to Monday type of thing. I go for a few days, but it's like this time with all the people that I'm going to want to talk to and see and all the cards I'm going to look at, it's like, the National should be a week long, never mind 5 days, especially this year. And plus, I think for the first time in many years since the early 90s at the National, you're going to have to fight to get in and look at the booths. I think there's going to be so many people there.
I was even thinking about, I don't know how you've done it in the past. I was even thinking about buying tickets now if I could, just because I don't know if they'll sell out, which I think is, I'm not even sure if they're selling them right now. I think they are. I think you can go on the website and buy them, but I don't know, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I would caution you to hold off. There's no rush to buy they're not going to sell out of admission. I've had Jeff Wolf from Iconic Auctions on my show. It was his auction house that sold the Charizard last weekend there for $220. Yeah. And so he's a very good friend of mine, and he goes in with a corporate booth, and so I don't buy a ticket. I get a corporate sponsor thing that gets me in and out. So I've never had that challenge, but I might be able to swing an extra one if I needed to also. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Anyway, Jeff says, who has 100+ Gretzky rookies? Man, if only I didn't want to sell them at card shows to put money in my pocket, I'd have close to 100 right now. But I think Terry has close to it, but again, and they're all great. It's not like they're all PSA 8s. He's got 1s, 2s, 3s, and all the half grades as well, for sure. Ziggy says, I'll poke enough people to get Gary V on Sports Cards Live. Hey, Ziggy, if you do that, I'll owe you a big thank you for sure, and a beer at the National or two. So thank you for that. Irving says, I bumped into Gary walking out of WrestleMania at MetLife last year, said hi, but didn't ask for a pic because I didn't want him to get bombarded. And that's what you got to do, right? You got to treat him. You don't want to attract attention to the guy when you're out in public. Ziggy is starving for local shows. I hear that. Any tips for getting manufacturer VIP parties? I hear Panini VIP is great. Yeah, to get into the Panini VIP party, you have to buy a certain amount of product at the show. You actually have to buy your way in. I don't know how to get in for free. I've never been offered admission myself. Irving says, surprisingly, no local card shows here in LA. I can't remember when the last one was. Yep. And Terry's Flickr account is literally just Gretzky rookies. It's insane. Brian Kingsley, welcome to After Hours. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Brian.
Mr. LAGN, have you guys bought any soccer cards? I've got one soccer card. I don't even have it yet. It got shipped to my brother in Arizona. I'm hoping to have it here by the end of the month with some of my Pokemon pickups so that I can show them on my Halloween episode, which is going to be a special Pokemon themed episode for Halloween.
Nice.
How about you, Dustin? Any soccer cards?
Well, I was telling Jeremy before we came on, I'm at my brother-in-law's house, so I'm a little out of my element. That's why I'm in a dark hole over here, downstairs. But my brother-in-law he had a binder of Pokemon cards that we went through, and we ended up, the last 2 hours. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 12:45 a.m. here, and I'm like, I got to do something to stay up. So we watched the original Pokemon movie from 2000, so I can try to learn more about Pokemon, as I'm looking into these cards. So we're doing.
Who are we, Dustin?
We're always researching. That's here. Right. But for sports cards or soccer cards, I do have. The one guy that I bought, and this is kind of I like the potential for him, but I'm also my mom's British, so and I lived in England. I went to kindergarten in England. So I'm a big Harry Kane fan. After the last World Cup, Harry Kane was awesome. So when everyone, when kind of this soccer card boom was happening, I was thinking like, well, what about Harry Kane? Harry Kane's the guy. So I did buy quite a bit. I probably have 15 Harry Kane cards, various cards. And I bought various other stuff, but I don't have a ton of soccer cards. I did buy some of the 2014 World Cup stuff, and I tried to get some rare stuff. I tried to get some graded stuff, but nothing crazy expensive. I mean, I got a few autos that were like PSA 8s that were like $80, but I was just going for kind of that scarcity, in that set. And I think for soccer cards, that 2014 World Cup Prism will be an important one. So we'll see.
I agree with that. I think it will be too. It's already proven to be. The one card I bought, so I bought an Mbappe, again, just because of the hype. I don't know anything about him. I don't even know what team he plays for. I don't know what country he's from. I know nothing about the guy, but I bought a card. It was I was buying other cards from the same seller that particular day. And I thought, okay, I'll buy one of these. I'm just looking for it in my purchases here to see if it'll come up so I could tell you what it is, but it was actually a sticker. It was a gold sticker card. I got to find it here. Let's see if I search all my 2020 purchases. Well, that's coming up. I'm going to show you a couple cards that just came in the mail for me, though. Okay, this week. Yeah. Show some personal. So I collect from Upper Deck Hockey, the Cup. I collect these base patch parallels. They're out of 10 or out of 8 every year, and I collect them from all the years. So I've got almost 300 of these, and these are the two newest ones. This is from 2008-9. It's a Luke Robitaille. So Irving, if you're there, you'll like this one. So just a simple base card parallel out of 10 with a patch, but I just love them because to me the Cup is hockey's top tier brand. It's the #1 set every year, and the fact is that I don't want base cards because they're just not important enough for me. They're out of 249, but I still respect the base set. I think the base set just as a concept is important for a brand. So to me, this is the parallel that is the most kind of flashy. It's got the nice patches, and this is just the design from 08-09. And then I picked up from the 09-10 the Jerome Iginla Calgary Flames piece. So you can see the design changed drastically. It's a 4-color patch. Bought it from a guy on eBay who happened to know who I was, gave me a deal on it, and it came very quickly. So really happy with that one as well. Nice. Brings me to like 288 cards in that PC within my PC. I also picked up this 2007 MVP Superscript Sidney Crosby. It's out of 25. So it's a third-year card, which doesn't really mean much. I know Ziggy does not like second-year cards, and this is a third-year card, but it's a rare parallel. It's got that cool silver script facsimile autograph on it and numbered in the corner out of 25. So just a super rare Crosby card from early in his career. And then I picked Dustin in the superfractors, the gold superfractors and the gold vinyls in basketball, the 101s. In hockey, O-Pee-Chee Platinum puts out what they call the golden treasures, and I try and pick these up. So I picked up this one here, the Austin Matthews. It's from 2018-19. It's the retro version, and it's the gold 1/1 for Austin Matthews. So pretty cool card, because Austin Matthews, Dustin, is a guy who's kind of in that second tier of superstar. He's not a Crosby, Gretzky, McDavid, but he's right under it in terms of hobby popularity, and he plays for the Maple Leafs, which is good for the hobby, or good in terms of hobby love. And so I picked that up, and I'm pretty happy with it. It goes with my Golden Treasures collection. And then 2 graded cards. The first, I'll do the hockey one first, the basketball one second. I never bought one of these earlier. Nathan McKinnon might be the best player in the league. And this is his SP Authentic Future Watch autograph. It's numbered out of 999. It's a PSA 10. And it's, to me, the Young Gun is kind of the everyday rookie card. This is if you're not going to, splurge and buy the Cup rookie, you can get this card here for a player. And I mean, the Crosby, the McDavid, the Ovechkin, those are all like $3,000 to $8,000 right now. This is lower. It's between $1,000 and $2,000 right now. Could have bought it last year or earlier this year for probably $600, but I never did. It's a card I should have bought before I did. And now I think, he's definitely worthy of my collection where I pick up these Future Watch autographs. So this landed this week. And then the last card is it's a basketball card. It's a 1994 Ultra Power in the Key PSA 10 Shaquille O'Neal.
That's a cool card.
It's a really cool card, but I got to admit, I love the underside of the sneaker there, the blue. Hey,
it's so 90s. The look of that card. It looks like in living color. Like do you remember that show in living color from the 90s? Like it looks like the logo or something. Yeah. I love it. And
this right here, that's actually a very bright green. It's not as dull as it looks. It's actually like bright green. It just doesn't look as good on the camera. But I will tell you, when this card landed, I was disappointed because I thought it was a foil finish. I thought the whole front was foil, just like Power in the Key was from 1993. But it isn't. It's just a print. It's just the colors printed on the card. So I was actually disappointed. I didn't ever hold one in hand before. So again, when it landed, I was disappointed with the card. I was disappointed it wasn't foil, but it wasn't that expensive. I'm gonna keep it, and I collect Shaquille O'Neal, so I thought that was pretty cool. Let's go back to some of the comments here, Dustin, for a second. Dave says there was a local show here. Dave's in Vancouver. But not put on by the guy who regularly runs them. Irving says, I have a Pikachu onesie. And I'll just say to that, Irving, I'm disappointed you weren't wearing it on the episode you were just on with me. We'll have to get you back in with their Pikachu onesie on. Brian says, I am soccerless, but my full art collection is growing. That's cool. He says, I bought Bowman MLS packs and Chronicles Soccer. Do you have Luka Prism rookies? I have one. I bought a PSA 10 Luka Prism rookie at the National last year for $60.
Yeah, I bought three. I bought 3 last year in September, so it was right in that same zone. They were $72 each, and I sold them all on the way up. Not at the height. I didn't sell any for $2,000. I sold them all in that $400 to $500 range. Just thinking like, hey, I paid $70. I'm making good money back on it. Never in a million years thought they would go up to $2,000. But it is what it is.
And you got to think though, had you not sold them for that $400 to $500 range, and you had them when they hit $2,000, would you have sold them then, or would you have thought, oh my God, the sky's the limit here? I'm going to keep them because you know what happened? Now they're $1,300, which is still a huge gain from a year ago.
I think I definitely would have sold one. you know, if I had the three, I certainly would have sold one at 2,000. Or you know what? Honestly, I probably wouldn't even have been patient for it to get to 2,000. I probably would have sold it. Well, I wasn't even patient enough for it to get to 1,000. I sold it at 500. You know, so yeah, no, I would have sold one for sure.
I mean, I kind of wonder. I have the one I have, but you know, I think I do believe he's next in line, and because of that, I need the card in my collection. I think it's going to be an all-time great. So I don't want to sell it, but boy, do I wish I sold it at $2,000 and I could buy it back today for $1,300. I'd be $700 ahead, which is like $1,000 for me here in Canada and in our currency. Jay says you should buy vintage soccer cards. The pop very low, like Pelé, Maradona, and he's right. The prices are up there, though. It's like people haven't forgotten about Pelé and Maradona. They're still expensive. Have you been looking into that stuff at all, Dustin?
Yeah, I have over the last couple months, and I almost pulled the trigger on some Maradona stuff. And here, my problem with it is I was finding all sorts of different things, whether it be stickers or cards, and I just don't know which is better. You know, I'm looking at a graded Maradona that's a PSA 8. It's a 72 something, and then I see another one that's a 1980 something, and I like the cards look great, but if I'm going to spend, you know, $100 or $200, I wanted to try to figure out kind of more about the sets. But to me, it was like, I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to this. I'm not really sure who to contact to find out. My wife was giving me all sorts of problems because she was telling me, like, you're buying soccer cards, but you're not buying stickers. She's from Florence, Italy. So in the 90s, she was buying, like, they were getting soccer stickers. That's what you do in Italy. It's all soccer stickers. So she was like, why aren't you getting into stickers? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. And she's looking at me like, yeah, but you have a card. You have like a card channel. Like, why don't you know about this? So I started to research, and I just got frustrated because it seemed like there was just so many different things, like niche sets. And I just couldn't get a handle on what was what.
Yeah, I get it. I hear you. Ziggy says I had a transcendent Pele auto at a 10 I sold years ago for a few hundred. Happy at the time too. And that's the thing. When we sell, you gotta think, if you sold cards last year or before the pandemic, you know, before the massive increases, hopefully you took that money and bought more cards that maybe did go up in value. So I just don't want to have regrets. Ziggy, then you say, boom, that's a huge card. Is it a rookie? I think you're asking about the Austin Matthews, Ziggy. It's not a rookie card. It's his third year. His rookie was 2016. This is an 18-19, but he's still a stud of a player and has a great career ahead of him. Can someone send me that link to show your name? I can do that for you right now. I'm going to put that in the comments. It's right there. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Click the big blue button. That should show us your name. Luca Dimitrios Kokos. Is that Jimmy? Is that Jimmy Kokos? I'm not sure. Vegas Fine 777. I've been watching more of your videos, my friend. Really enjoying the channel. Greetings. Hello, Dustin and Ziggy, Kingsley, and chat. Well, welcome to you. Great to see you. Thank you for joining. Eric says, hey guys, a little late to the show. How are things going? Eric, things are going good, man. Thank you for joining. We're having a nice chilled out after hours episode, which for me, I got to say is super relaxing because I don't know, it just is. It's a different feel than my regular Sports Cards live shows. So I'm doing good. Dustin, you holding up okay there? It's late where you are.
I'm holding up. Yeah. I was telling Jeremy before I came on, my brother-in-law, so like 10 minutes before we're supposed to go on, my brother-in-law has like a Roomba, like one of those things that goes around and cleans the floor. I didn't even know that, like, it literally hasn't done anything all day, just sat on the charger. And then 10 minutes before we're supposed to go on this thing, making a racket, going all over the house. And so I basically have it hidden in a closet, like across the way. So I'm hoping that I don't, there's not like banging in the, in the background here in a few minutes. But yeah, other than that, everything is good here.
Right on. Okay, so that is my buddy Jimmy Kokos, local collector from Calgary here. Jay says Pele rookie 1958, Maradona 77 and 78. Yeah, so Jay, what is the product that they're from called? What product is it from? And while you, if you're still there and can answer that, Dave says, speaking of soccer, Alphonso Davies is a star in Europe now. He has MLS cards with the white caps. Very cool. Very cool. Vegas Fine says, can you attach a cat toy to it? I might need to get one. Yeah, keep your cat from jumping on your table with all your cards, right? I hear that. I hear that loud and clear. Jimmy says, Jeremy, I had some big hits today. Any way to share them on the stream? Post a pic. No, I'm sorry, there is not. sorry, but maybe another time, man. I can have you on an after hours episode with me one of these coming Saturdays, and we can do it that way. So, hey, listen, I have this. I've been dying to open this for about 3 or 4 days now. This came in the mail from COMC. I got it on Wednesday or Thursday, and I haven't opened it. It's still, there's a box in here. It's a 33 card order. I'm going to crack into it now. I've never really done a mail day video before. I've shown my cards over the last few weeks. I've been showing my cards that I get during the week, but I've never like opened a package live on this channel. So I'm going to do that right now. I kind of forget what all is in here. So here's the box they sent, which is nice. It's not taped up. I can use it again, which is always nice. It's pretty sweet. Here's what it looks like. Bunch of bubble wrap. They do a really nice job of COMC packaging your cards. So apparently this is 33 cards. Some of them there's some really cheapies in here, like a couple, $2 cards I picked up to fill in some binder sets that I collect. So let's see what we got in here. I hope they sent me all 33 cards that were in the order. I'm sure they did. Yeah, I mean, you can see there's just a bunch of like sleeved cards in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some cool cards. So I showed a few minutes ago those. I showed these 2 cards that came this week from again, they're cup base patch parallels out of 10. They're kind of called gold cards. So the biggest card in the order I'm going to show first. This is it's the same. It's from the 2010-11 the Cup, and it's a card I was watching on COMC for a long time, and I finally just bit the bullet and bought it. Numbered 1 of 10, Wayne Gretzky, LA Kings piece. Irving, if you're still out there, you'll appreciate this card. So that's nice. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool card.
Nice patch with 3 colors, several breaks. And again, it's numbered 1 of 10 from 10-11. So that's the first card from the COMC break. I'm going to show the best cards first, I think, just because they're all packaged separately here. So Jonathan Toews is an excellent player. He's known as Captain Serious. He's got multiple Stanley Cups, I think 3. And it's not a rookie card name. It's from 2014-15 Upper Deck Ultimate. It's a patch auto out of 10. So just a simple 2-color patch, nothing fancy on the patch, but it's 10 of 10 with a beautiful on-card autograph. And the price was right. Like it was cheap as far as a patch auto out of 10 from Jonathan Toews goes. Dustin, he's a guy you probably haven't heard of. Jonathan Toews, I'm guessing.
No. Mm-mm.
Well, he's a guy that he's a superstar in the league. He's been captain of Team Canada before. He's a great player, and he gets a lot of hobby love. Playing for the Blackhawks and Original 6 team is a big deal, and that's a good card. I'll just leave it at that.
Those on-card autos are awesome.
They are awesome. They really are. Upper Deck does a great job with those in the Ultimate product. So now we're going to get into some more, cards that might remind you guys of Prism basketball parallels, that kind of thing. Again, O-Pee-Chee Platinum in hockey is kind of the Panini Prism parallel in terms of all the parallels within it. So the first one, this is a Sidney Crosby. It's from 2019-20, and it's the green houndstooth parallel. The color isn't showing up great, but it's a really cool looking card, and it's numbered 4 of 15. So very rare.
Yeah.
And just a real cool card. And another golden treasure. This isn't the retro version though. This is a regular version from 2018-19. Mark Stone, pictured with the Ottawa Senators, currently playing for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think he's still with the Vegas Golden Knights, but again, it's got the 1 of 1 stamp on the back. So this is like the gold superfractor non-rookie card in baseball, or gold vinyls. Pretty cool card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a handful of these golden treasures now. So I added that to the stack from COMC, and then the rest are all stacked in here in sleeves. So lower end cards, but a lot of fun ones. Let's see some comments in the meantime here. Dustin, weren't you just on Brad's today with the vintage internet? You sure are making the rounds.
Yeah, I was on Brad's show today. Yeah, he's investing in vintage modems.
Seriously?
He had some internet issues, kept on going in and out. So yeah, it was a fun ride, but his show is great. Is great too. Yeah.
Brad is the comeback card investor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've caught several clips of his channel over the past few months. Enjoyable. He's got a great screen presence. You know, he's always happy. He's just always happy, and that's just nice to watch.
Yeah.
It says famous Pele rookie 1958 Alifa Bolaget. Okay. Maradona 1978 crack Campion Mundial, and also 1978 Libro de Estampa. So these are Italian made cards or Spanish made cards, maybe. Anyway, they're not really standard typical cards you find on eBay every day, I don't think. Are you familiar with these cards, Dustin?
No, and that's and the ones I was looking at too, I don't know if they were those years, but there was some really cool cards. But again, it was kind of like, 1980 Maradona and a PSA 4 or a 1982 and a PSA 8. They were the same price. What am I looking at? Type thing.
Right.
And then, is it a rookie card? Is it not a rookie card? Is it a sticker? Is a sticker the rookie card? There's all these sorts of things. I think that part of it, if I was going to dig, if the price was right, I would probably just take the risk on scarcity, just because none of these cards are graded. You just can't find them. So if you're looking at a 1970s soccer card, the pop report's probably not too high on it. So yeah. I don't know. I think if you're into it, Maradona, then you probably just take a shot at any of those. I'm assuming that's probably what I should have done.
And that Pele card from 58, I'm sure that is a beast of a card to purchase and acquire right now. I'm sure I got to think it's low pop and very expensive. Ziggy says, Dustin is the busiest guy in the hobby. Admire the hustle. Making the rounds. Vegas Fine says, hey, I'm getting close. Yeah, there's a lot of collaborations going on. It's nice to see it. It's just fun. It's just fun. I was on Hobby Hotline this morning. Another one of my favorites. I love the time slot for that show. Saturday morning is just, I wake up, I have my coffee, maybe have some oatmeal, tell my wife to hold the kids for an hour. I come down, I watch the show, call in, and that's a real fun one too. Yeah, Dustin was on Gary V yesterday. Dave Kaplan says Taves is from Winnipeg, represents. So Dave Kaplan and myself are both originally from Winnipeg, which is just north of North Dakota, for anybody who doesn't know in the United States. Yeah, that's where we're both originally from. I live in Calgary right now, which is north of Montana. Dave lives in Vancouver, which, as you may know, is on the West Coast, just north of Seattle.
Yes.
Carlos says, are you suggesting murky rookie card definitions? Inconceivable. Right, man? Right, yeah, Carlos?
You guys already cleared that up. You cleared that up in a previous episode. I remember that.
We didn't clear anything up. We didn't clear anything up, man. We realized that that was our conclusion was, and Carlos says it best, we're not going to come to a conclusion, and that's okay. But the discussion is good. And I think you could write the definition of rookie card right now, and it would take up several pages because there's so many new factors in play. But anyway, we've exhausted that one on this show at least. Vegas Fine says, greetings, Jeremy. Caught some of your interview with Card Collector last night. Goes, oh, hey, thanks, man. Glad to hear it. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate that. And yeah, Ryan was a cool guest to have. Carlos says, we determined it must be, yeah, that's right. We determined that the rookie card must be composed of matter. We're good on that. The rest, you're on your own. Exactly. Has to be made of matter. It doesn't even have to be cardboard. It can be acetate.
And then maybe not even matter if it's a digital card or something, right? It's going to be like a blockchain card. And then is that matter? I don't know. Then now we're just reopening that wound.
Yeah, exactly. So here, this next 4 cards. So Upper Deck puts out the base O-Pee-Chee brand every year, and then they put out the O-Pee-Chee Platinum, which comes out later. Pretty much the same checklist, but the card stock is way nicer. But in their base O-Pee-Chee, they always put in kind of like an Easter egg set where you can try and find these cards. And back in 2012, 13, they did these pop-ups. And they're a throwback to the 1936 O-Pee-Chee set, which, and I believe baseball had a pop-up set as well back in the 30s. So they kind of did a throwback, an homage to those. And I forget how many cards. This is number 37. So it's probably 40 cards in the set. And it's a set that I chipped away at. And, these cards are anywhere from, a couple bucks to $12 type of thing for the big name. So it's a set I chip away at for a binder, and just, again, not investment cards, fun cards. I'm still a collector. And so I picked up I still need about a handful of them, but the Claude Giroux plays for the Flyers.
Is that a thicker card, like action packed?
No.
Is that it? Oh, it's thin. Okay.
Very
it looked
thin.
Like it was in both, like it was raised. Okay.
It's not. But the player is kind of jumping off the background. It's a standard, like 30, it would fit in a 35 point top loader. So there's the Alex Ovechkin. I picked up the Martin Brodeur, all-time winningest goaltender in NHL history for the New Jersey Devils, and a small stint with the St. Louis Blues. And then Patrick Kane, one of the best playmakers in the league and an awesome goal scorer too, plays with Jonathan Toews, who we mentioned earlier for Chicago. When you go to the National in Chicago, Toews and Kane cards are hot. Like, people want them there. I try and stock up on those guys before I go to the Chicago National each year. Eric says, cool, you're in Calgary. I grew up in Missoula, Montana. Yeah, very cool. Not too far away. Jay tells us that the one Pelé card is a Swedish card. Interesting. Paul says, it's good to see cheap cards. They are fun. Yeah, man. I mean, there's some really cool looking cheap cards out there too, for sure. Another set that came out, this was an exclusive set to Canada. To Upper Deck distributed this through a chain of stores we have up here called Canadian Tire. They're kind of like a like a Lowe's or a Home Depot kind of thing. And they put out an exclusive set through there. And anyway, I was collecting the canvas version. These were tough cards, but I picked up 4 of them. Again, these were anywhere from like 75 cents to $2.50 probably. Carey Price, Guy Lafleur, Lanny McDonald, and Matt Duchene. So, all decent players. Binder cards, nothing of any real consequence. And then I get into a bunch of shiny stuff.
You got to love it.
So here, this is a 2018-19 O-Pee-Chee Platinum. The Future Is Now, Connor McDavid, and it's a mosaic parallel. So I don't know what the print run is. I just thought, it's a cool card. I think it might even be an EPAC exclusive. I'm not sure. Wasn't expensive. Cool. Pardon?
That is a cool card.
Yeah, and it was probably like $12 or something like that. But a nice card that, if I ever decide to get it graded and it comes back at 10, it'll be worth much more than I got it for. Here's another O-Pee-Chee Platinum, Alexander Ovechkin, orange rainbow. This is numbered out of 49. It's the retro version. So when I say retro version, it's a parallel within the set. And then, so they did the regular set and it's R30 and it's numbered out of 49. So the R means retro. And as you can see up on the opposite corner there, it says orange rainbow. There it is. Awesome. But it's just cool, man. Like, it's super shiny and just a nice.
I'm a sucker for shiny orange. I don't know what it is about orange, but I like orange shiny stuff.
Well, when I bought the Ovechkin, I thought, you know what? I'll get the Crosby to go along with it from the same set. It's kind of nice, nice to pair these two guys together whenever you can. I don't know if you know, Dustin, but they entered the league in the same year in 05-06. But that was the year after the lockout. 04-05, there was no hockey season. So the 04 draft choices, the draft class from 04, they couldn't play in the NHL their first year. So Ovechkin was delayed a year, and they both came into the league together, and we had a double rookie class. These aren't rookie cards, but in 05-06, we had a double rookie class, and that's when the Cup first came out, and we were really spoiled in hockey that year. So I paired those two up. I love the gold size mix from O-Pee-Chee Platinum. These are from 2018-19, I believe. Yep. Picked up 3 of these. An all-star. I picked up the McKinnon, the Ovechkin, and the Mario Lemieux. These are out of 50. Tell me you've heard of Mario Lemieux, Dustin.
Yeah. I know Mario Lemieux.
Okay.
So Yeah, I won't start this controversy, but I was kind of going back and forth with someone because I was doing a little bit of research on Lemieux and Gretzky, and there's that thing of just like Lemieux played far less games than Gretzky did, and I understand that Gretzky's the GOAT, considered the GOAT, but with Mario Lemieux, I just wish, I'm not going to make any sort of argument, LeBron, Michael Jordan argument on the greatest of all time sort of thing, but I just wish that Lemieux had played more games because it seemed like stats-wise, if he had played the same number of games, it would have been more of a conversation.
I think you're right. I think it would have been more of a conversation if he played more games. The one stat that you can look to, I believe, that kind of tells the story, though, is just points in a season. Gretzky had 3 seasons where he scored, and I believe, I haven't looked at it in a while, I believe he had 3 seasons where he scored 200 points or more. I mean, he's the only guy to ever hit 200 points, and he did it 3 times. Mario Lemieux came very close. He hit 199 points one year. And after those 2 guys, I think the guy who's got the 3rd most, I believe, is Steve Yzerman with like 163 points one year. No one else has come close. Like, we've had a few 130s in there, but, Gretzky really... I will always argue Gretzky is the GOAT. It doesn't matter how many games Mario played. But people, when you pick a style that you like to watch over another, a lot of people just preferred Mario's style. A lot of people thought Gretzky was a crybaby, that kind of thing. I think he's a national hero. I think he's the GOAT of all GOATs,
Oh, absolutely. No, yeah. I agree with you. That was just a talking point that I thought was interesting.
But Mario Lemieux, deserved of being in everybody's collection that collects rookie cards or GOATs or Hall of Famers, across sports. And he's definitely, and he owns the Pittsburgh Penguins. Like he's an all-timer for sure. And gold seismics are some of my favorites. So I picked up those 3. They came in from COMC. I'm trying to match up cards here too, before I get into some cool Fleer cards that the basketball guys will like. But here's another O-Pee-Chee Platinum Green Rainbow Retro Crosby. This is the 17-18 year. So again, that's not like this border over here and down. That's green, and it's a bright, like nice, beautiful green. Numbered out of 49 on the back. So another cool card.
Yeah.
Now, basketball guys know all about Playmakers Theaters. This is the Alex Ovechkin from Fleer Retro, numbered out of 100. The Jordan card, one was just on eBay for like 60 grand on a PWCC auction. And then there was all sort of funny business going on. So it was delisted, but really cool and cheap, man. Like under $20 for this card blows my mind. Because if this was a basketball card, it would be so much more money. But I think eventually, I do believe that the hockey guys will somewhat catch up and realize that there's some cool Fleer cards out there. Couple comments. Jay says Maradona crack Argentina. Okay, that's an Argentinian card. Makes sense. Vegas says I invested a good bit into Allure's first set. Tons of Connor McDavid and all the juicy. But yeah, there's some beautiful cards in there, man. From Allure, I agree with you on that. I really like O-Pee-Chee Platinum. It's undervalued. I agree. Jay tells us that the Pelé card PSA 1 sold for 15 grand. And the Maradona PSA 6 sold for $22,000 last month. So I don't know about you, Dustin, but I'm priced out of those guys' rookie cards now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the $80 card I was looking at a couple months ago.
Couldn't be. Richie says, hey, Jer, how do you like to store these loose inserts if you are not going for the set, which it sounds like you put in binders together? So no, the binder cards are for like those pop-ups. Those will go into binders. All these loose inserts, the O-Pee-Chee Platinums and these other cards I'm going to show you, they go into top loaders until I get them graded. But basically all these cards I'm showing you so far, except for the pop-ups and the canvas, like all these cards here, they're all grading candidates for me, you know, on the bulk submission, the cheapest version. Now, with the way things have changed, they may never make it to grading. I might just keep them in top loaders, or I'll put them in one touches if I want to display them. But I use top loaders. I know cards don't look as good in top loaders, but they're lighter and you can just fit so many more in your storage facility. That's why I use them. Here's a Essential Credentials Future, I believe, from 2014 of Mario Lemieux.
That's nice.
See me through it, right? Really cool card. I love cardboard die cut on acetate or acetate die cut on cardboard. I think they just look so cool. So I've got a bunch of these from this year, and it's numbered. So it's a rare. It's out of 35, I believe. Yep, numbered out of 35. So that's rare. That's a tough card to get. And this one's locked away now. Here's a rare 90s insert of Teemu Selanne, my favorite player of all time, any sport. This is the Lethal Weapon Superpower parallel version. It's got some nice finishing to it. Really cool shine. I've got a few copies of this card. I just love Teemu, and I love these 90s Fleer inserts. Here's a 2012 Teemu Selanne Hot Shots from Fleer Retro. Michael Jordan. Yeah, the Jordan PSA 9 sold today for like $6,000.
Oof.
I think I got this for $6. And I'm not kidding.
That's wild.
Yeah. There's some value in hockey cards, man. This Nathan McKinnon, another O-Pee-Chee Platinum parallel. I don't know what I paid for this. It doesn't matter because it was so low. Like this might have been $4, but it's, it's a cool looking card. It's numbered out of 65, which is, still pretty rare.
Yeah, very much.
Here's another Ovechkin. I bought this one. So this is just the base retro, O-Pee-Chee Platinum retro. Not the base. It's the black parallel version. It's numbered out of 100. I don't, usually 100 is a big number for me, but this was number 1 of 100 on COMC. So I'm like, I got to grab it. It's OV, 1 of 100. That's cool. I'll buy it. And it was cheap. So then I had to get the Crosby to pair along with it. This is number 32 of 100. Just cool. If you can't tell, guys, I love O-Pee-Chee Platinum. I love this stuff. Here's another basketball insert kind of homage to the Golden Touch. Again, if this was a Michael Jordan from 97, this would be worth like $40,000. It's Alexander Ovechkin from 2012. So it probably cost, again, I paid no more than $15 for this card. Oh, there's another canvas. This is a card I bought. This is a funny story. This is just an Upper Deck Series 1 or Series 2. Series 1 from 2012. A canvas parallel. It's like, I think canvases fall 6 per box or something like that. But this card is special. Dave Kaplan, if you're watching, you'll get it. This image, I never knew about this card. I paid $2 for it on COMC, and I bought it because I follow a guy on Instagram who's called Point Shot Photography. And he takes pictures that end up on hockey cards a lot. And he's based out of Winnipeg, again, where I'm from. Teemu Selanne started his career in Winnipeg. He's the most exciting player we ever had play there, ever. Better than, anyway. The photographer that I follow, this is his photo. And when he posted to his Instagram, he said, this is a picture from Teemu saluting the crowd in Winnipeg after Winnipeg got a team back in 2006 after 2011 after losing their team in 2006. So when he came back and saluted the crowd as a member of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, I mean, to me, I loved Teemu. I loved him. Like if you could love another, he brought me so much joy in the early 90s. He was such a great player, such a great guy, such a nice person. I met him several times. Anyway, this is it's a picture of him saluting the crowd on an Upper Deck canvas card. I thought, you know what? That's a card I want to have. And you can see it even just looking at his face. You can see the love he feels and the love he's giving back. Like I bought it for the picture, and I rarely do that. Couple more. I got only 5 more. I'll go quick. This is another Mario Lemieux, electrifying. Again, a Michael Jordan, and this sells for thousands of dollars. This card was probably, again, under $20.
That's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, and in person, it sparkles way more than you can see on my camera. Wrapping it up, another throwback to the 90s basketball, the Hardware Heroes, the Patrick Kane. Again, cheap card, under $5 type of thing, but Kane's worthy. He's a great player. And then this is from here's a Topps hockey card, Topps Heritage, but this is I forget what they call them right now, some sort of chrome parallel, numbered out of 667 on the back, which was back in 2001 was a smaller number than it is now. And this is a set I collected. There's 105 cards in the set, and I'm down to like 3 or 4. So I found this on COMC for like $5, and I grabbed it. Vincent Lecavalier, who was a great player in his time. He's kind of faded away.
I remember him. Yeah, didn't he play for the Lightning?
Yeah. Yeah. He ended up doing some stints in like Philadelphia, maybe a couple other places, but his best years were for the Lightning. This is a card from a set from it's a Panini card. This is now the player's nobody special. Adam Henrique, I believe he might be with the Ducks right now. This is when he was with the Devils, but it's a set I collected back when this came out in 2013. It was from the anthology series from Panini. And I thought they were just a nice, clean set with a little piece of stick in it right there. And it was probably like probably like a 50 or 60 card set, Dustin, that I put together. And I only need one more now. This was the second last one I need. And it's the first card I've added in years to the set. But actually, I bought it off COMC off my buddy Amit, who has been on my show, is on Carlos's show all the time. And I bought it from him. And I said to him, I go, Amit, you have a card in your COMC I want. Give me a deal. He's like, what card? I show him. He's like, yeah, offer me $5. You can have it. So I could. And then the last card is a Sidney Crosby O-Pee-Chee box bottom that I had actually, so it's a box bottom card. It's not a blank back, which is different. It's a box bottom that it's funny. I cut this myself, sent it to COMC to sell it, and then decided I wanted it back. So I had him ship it back to me.
That's funny. I've never heard of that box bottom. Interesting.
Yeah. Basically, just like it sounds, this year, the O-Pee-Chee product that just came out does not have them for the first time in several years, but it's a cool oddball kind of card. And they did them in the 80s. And so they're doing them now as a throwback to the 80s. So
cool.
So that's it, guys. That's my COMC mail day. I think that was about 33 cards. There they are. And now I get I get to really hobby out, cardboard nerd out, as I say, and scan them, label them, put them in top loaders, index them into my collection, and just enjoy them that much. So thank you everybody for joining me and letting me go through that and enjoy my mail day. So it's fun. You don't always remember what's coming when you do a COMC order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, man, you've been sitting there very patiently, Dustin. I appreciate that. I'm going to go through some more comments, and then we'll see if we have any questions, and we can wrap up. I know it's super late where you are. Carlos says, totally true on Gretzky, Jeremy, but the 1980s are almost broken. Video game numbers, and Gretzky got to take full advantage for playing the full decade. Lemieux was a scary force into his peak. He sure was. Paul says, Gretzky had 4 200-point seasons. Lemieux felt like he was more talented. Gretzky was, what's the word, craftier. Fair comments. I'm never going to argue this with anybody because I don't think there's a right answer, just like the whole Jordan LeBron thing. Although I think the answer is more right there, maybe, because I believe Jordan. But anyway, we won't get into that. Rich says, but you could also say that any of the other 700 players in the 80s could have taken full advantage, but nobody was close to Gretzky's numbers. Gretzky could walk down the ice, walk through people, and score. And it looked like he made scoring look so easy. Although when you watch footage from back then, man, the nets look bigger, the goalies look smaller. So it's. Yeah.
Did the goalies have less padding back then than they do?
Smaller padding.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Paul says, I hope Fleer hockey stays underappreciated until I have what I want. Man, I'm with you, Paul, but people are catching on. They're catching on. Carlos says, very true, but Lemieux didn't play the full decade with Thierry, Curry, Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, and a fairly decent team in Edmonton for most of the decade. Yeah, that's fair, but I don't ever want to penalize Gretzky for elevating other people's games. Lemieux, Messier, Anderson, Coffey wouldn't have been what they were without Gretzky finishing so much for them or setting them up so much. They had to be good to play with him, but let's not penalize Wayne for having some talent around him and making that talent better. Although I still hear the argument, or not even the argument, I still hear the comment, but I don't think it's the one to put Lemieux above Gretzky. Rich says, as a follow-up for your graded cards or cards in one touches, do you store them standing up in boxes or do you store them laying flat in stacks? My cards are standing up for the most part in graded boxes, graded 2-row boxes, and my one-touch cards are in just my top loader cards are in shoe boxes as well. Terry says, late to the after hours. Well, Terry, too bad you're late because we were talking about you earlier, but just in time to see the shinies. Great pickup. Thank you, Terry. And like I just said, We were talking about you earlier about your stash of Gretzky rookies. I don't know how many you have. I don't know if it's 100 or not, but it's got to be close. Tossing the glove in the air and shooting it was classic. Yeah, Teemu Selanne. Yeah, classic. If you ever, Dustin, you want to see the happiest moment of my life as a sports fan? It was in 1993. It would have been March of 93. Teemu Selanne scores the record-breaking goal. It was his 54th goal of the year. It broke the record for most goals by a rookie. And when he did it, he was in full speed on his, well, not full speed, but at pretty high speed on his skate, took a glove off, threw it up in the air, took his stick, turned it into a gun, was like shooting the glove that he, and he's not a cocky guy, but he did that, and that was awesome. He's such a great guy. Legion, thank you so much. Rich says there's no feeling like scanning the cards and then looking at them in your database alongside other scan cards and just admiring it on the screen. Man, I'm with you, dude. I do that too. Paul jumps in and says Lemieux had Jagger, Francis, and Coffey. Rob Brown scores 40 goals on Lemieux's wing. Right there's your Bernie Nichols equivalent. I could score 40 goals on Lemieux's wing. So, you know, yeah, both players played with some great players. That's for sure. And you know, Lemieux, I compare Lemieux to Steve Yzerman a little bit, not in terms of their GOAT status or anything like that, but I just remember in the 80s, the Penguins were garbage. They were a garbage team. And then Lemieux came around and, you know, it was like 6 years later, they won back-to-back cups. Steve Yzerman, a great player, underappreciated in the hobby. The Red Wings in the early 80s were complete garbage, like bottom of the barrel. Steve Yzerman came around, and all of a sudden, by the you know, he came around in the 84-85 year. You know, by the end of the 80s, they were a powerhouse, winning cups. I forget the years, but in the 90s, they won a cup or two, and they had one of the best teams that's ever set foot on the ice, I believe, with, oh my gosh, with Sergei Fedorov and Brendan Shanahan, and I mean, just they were stacked. Never mind that whole Russian line. They could. There was one point, Dustin, where the Detroit Red Wings could put 5 Russians on the ice at once, 5 Russian skaters on the ice, and they were dominating. So,
how are Sergei Fedorov's cards? Does he have any good cards, or what's the?
I mean, all of his cards are really from the 90s, and you know, so the first half of the 90s is a lot of junk. His best rookie card is really it's from the first series of Young Guns ever, and it's one of the nicest rookie cards. I think it's such a beautiful card. It was so hot when it came out, but nowadays you can pick up a PSA 10 for under $100, sometimes well under $50 maybe. You know, and that right now they might be $75 because it's mass produced. But it's a beautiful card. It's from the first year Upper Deck made hockey. After that, there's not much there. I'd love to see Upper Deck do an autograph deal with him now and put some sick cards in the cup with like big limited logo patches and that kind of thing. Be really nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a fantastic player, like up there as one of the best in the league back in the day.
I remember him. Yeah.
Rich says, I wish there were more Sergei Fedorov cards. There are a lot of very hard to find buybacks from the early 2000s, but can't find them anywhere. Like, have you heard of Pavel Bure?
I've heard of him, yeah. I'm not going to say I know a lot of him, but I've heard of him, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's one of the best most dynamic Russian players of all time. You know, his career was cut short, but he was known as the Russian Rocket. You know, and he was amazing to watch. He gets some hobby love, but there's not a lot of cards of his out there either because his rookie card is from the same set as Sergei Fedorov's. It's again,
it's Upper Deck, right?
Upper Deck, 90-91 Upper Deck.
I talked about it on one of my recent cards, you know, cards I'm watching, because it was interesting where he had kind of a spike, I believe, that Upper Deck card. And I think it might have just been a fluke, you know, something, maybe it was just some off the wall sales. But it was a card that was basically like, you know, $50 forever. And then it was $150 and then it was back to $75. I just thought it was interesting.
That could have been an outlier at 150, or maybe it was a PWCC auction where, you know, they often get bidders that only shop with them, and maybe could have been one of those too.
Yeah.
Rich says most of Fedorov cards are in Leaf, I think. Fedorov Opeachy Premier rookie card is a nice card. Yeah, that card was, again, you know, we think about Yager is also from that year, Dustin, and back in the day, Fedorov was the best card in the set. Yager was almost not even the top 5 or 10. Jeremy Roenick was huge back in those years as a rookie card. And but now you look back, Yager is the biggest name from those early years of Upper Deck hockey, for sure.
I remember Yager. He was really good from from the limited hockey that I watched. I remember him.
He's a legend, man. He's an all-time great legend, Yager. Just like I think Ovechkin is an all-time great legend. These are European players who just, the first European players we had in hockey came from Russia and Sweden and Finland in the 70s. And then we had a lot of them that came over in the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of them came over. And, but the greatest are like the Fedorov, the Bure, now we have Ovechkin, who's outstanding, Kucherov on Tampa, an outstanding player. A lot of great Russians. And that's why hockey has this kind of reputation of being, you can't pronounce any of the names of these players. That's because a lot of them come from Russia and Sweden and Finland. So
yeah.
Rich says the Bure Cup cards from 2012 to 2014 are skyrocketing. Lots of Bure collectors. He gets quite a bit of hobby attention. So, and I completely agree with that. Bure gets a lot of hobby love. His cards are beautiful. The patches or the jersey that Upper Deck got were some really beautiful, colorful Vancouver jerseys from the 90s, I guess. And they make for beautiful, beautiful cards. And Bure, but Upper Deck hasn't done that for a Fedorov yet, where Bure, they managed to get him into the cup and make some outstanding cards of his. Paul says Yager is still playing in a lower Czech league on a team he owns. He's got to be cool. I think Yager's my age. So he's getting close to 50. Like, man, dude, Yager, slow down, man. Like, hey, at least he loves the game. Well, man, hey, I thanks for joining me tonight, Dustin. I know I've done most of the talking here. I usually don't on after hours, but I guess doing a mail day and showing 35, 40 cards takes some time. So I apologize for making you watch me the whole time. But anything you want to talk about before we call it a night?
No, I mean, I was just happy that you asked me on. It was cool because, we were just having dinner and then you reached out and I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I enjoy talking cards and I knew that you were going to have some hockey stuff, and I don't see a lot of hockey stuff, and it's not something I buy. So it was, I thought it would be interesting. So yeah, no, thank you very much for having me on. Well,
you're welcome. And I'm glad you were available on last minute. And the reason why I called you is because with Irving on the main episode, and I knew you did other collectibles, and you do collectibles. That might be a good pairing for the Saturday night. But yeah, it's awesome that you made yourself available for this. And the other thing is that with this after hours show, I've been really slacking on booking my co-host for the episode. I've literally didn't even think about it till 2 hours before the original show tonight. So I'm glad you were available, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. It's been great. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, man. Anyone else out there, guys, if you're still watching, we still have a lot of viewers right now. So thanks everybody for tuning in to this. It's late where Dustin is. So Dustin, feel free to log off anytime, man. If any more comments come through, I'm good to stay on for another 10 minutes or so, guys. Otherwise, I'm happy to call it a night too. So I'll watch the comments for a minute here. And if nothing else comes in, we're going to shut her down for the Saturday night. I do thank everybody for watching. It's been fun. It always is fun on After Hours. And keep in mind, I'll be back on Wednesday with Jeff Wilson, the sports card investor, YouTube channel with close to 50,000 subscribers. I'm going to bring Jeff on, and really I'm bringing him on to hear about kind of what his perspective is on the hobby right now, what he's seeing. And again, we will both be attending the industry summit, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. I'm taking vacation days to do this thing. So we're going to both be attending that. And then I asked him to come on that day in particular because I thought, hey, this Wednesday will be it'll be a good opportunity to have two of us explain to the viewership and our audience kind of what we saw at the industry summit. I mean, I'm paying my way into this thing. It wasn't cheap. And I want to gain some leverage from it. And one way to do that is to share what I learn and what I see there with the audience of Sports Cards Live. So it'll be fun. And having Jeff, we'll have two of us out there checking out this industry summit, going in our own directions. And then we'll both be able to reconvene on the episode and talk about what we saw and bring that to you guys, sort of debrief that industry summit. that is coming up this weekend, or this week, I should say. Yeah, that's what's coming up. Dustin, what's coming up on your channel?
It's a good question. I need to put some things together. I've been I've been busy with some other stuff this week. We actually randomly, well, I shouldn't say randomly, but we bought a property that's outside of Charlotte. So we were actually just doing some work on it, trying to clear it out. Over the weekend, we're going to do some of that. But yeah, no, I'll have videos coming out. I didn't have a video today. I'll have videos tomorrow. And next week, I try to do a live every week. I don't know how many. Sometimes I'll do 2, just depending on the week. But I think next week I'll definitely have somebody on my show and vice versa. So yeah,
I want to ask: does your card collection know that you invested money in a property?
No, and I hope my card collection's not watching tonight. Another reason why I have been a little slower on the buying end, but no, I know I keep on guilt tripping my wife. Like, I hope this is really worth it because there's cards all over the place that I want. So
yeah, right on, man.
I'm guilt tripping her.
we'll run through these comments and then we'll sign off. Legion, man, always love it. Thank you for the round of applause. Rich, thanks, man. Great to have you. He says thanks to Dustin. Paul, always appreciate you tuning in. Carlos, thank you for joining. Good job. Thank you very much. And guys, I'm going to be watching Carlos's channel tomorrow night. He's got Amit Acharya joining him, one of my good friends, and the guy I set up with at the expo I have for several years. So I can't wait to watch that tomorrow night. So tune into Carlos's channel for more hobby talk. Might be a bit of a hockey centric. I'm not sure what they have planned, but I know they're both hockey guys. They're in Canada, but I know they're both also baseball guys. And I know Carlos is big into his baseball. So check that out tomorrow night. I'll certainly be tuned in. Eric says, I almost picked up my first true hockey card a week ago. I do have a Tom Glavine baseball card where he's in hockey gear. He was drafted by the Kings. That's true. Eric, we got to get you into hockey, man. Let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram or something. Happy to sort of help you navigate and find your way into entering the hockey segment of the hobby. Billy says, most underrated rare 90s NHL insert set. Oh, man, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess it's got the StarQuest Golds. I don't know, but they're not underrated. They're not underrated. So I'm not exactly sure, man. Eric says, that's what's up. You bet. Thank you so much. Jeff says, just started collecting O-Pee-Chee Platinum. Are there any other numbered parallels other than the Emerald Surge, Orange Checkers, Seismic Gold, Arctic Freeze, Red Prism, and Violet Checkers? There's the ones out of 15. There's the ones out of 25. There's the ones out of 35. There's ones out of 50, 85 or 65. I don't know, man. I think you might have them all there. You seem to have them all there. I can't think of any that you didn't. Paul says, did we touch on the Astros getting knocked out? We didn't, but I'm sure that makes a lot of baseball fans worldwide happy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I was a little, and I think it was the Rays that knocked them off, which I lived in Tampa for a long time. And you always see the Rays kind of raise these fantastic players that end up going to the Yankees or going somewhere else, in the league. So I was happy to see the Rays kind of get some good things done. Yeah.
And then Barry Ma, our boy from COMC, says, nice shirt, Jeremy. That's because sell your next card on COMC. And Barry, you sent me this. I think it was you that sent me this. So I got to thank you for sending me this t-shirt, Barry. I appreciate it. I'll be wearing it. Barry will be my guest on an upcoming episode in November, I believe. So watch for that one as well. Barry runs the Vancouver office of COMC because they have they're out of where are they out of? Washington State or Oregon, up there on the West Coast. And Barry runs their Canadian offices, which is just north of their US offices. So thank you, Barry. Looking forward to having you on the show, and thank you for the t-shirts. Ziggy says LA versus Tampa Bay for the next championship. If you're talking hockey, I don't know that LA will make it. Maybe you're talking baseball. I'm not sure with you, Ziggy, because you follow everything, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. Ripping Bowman Soccer while listening. This is sweet product. Awesome, man. Thanks for joining in. All right, guys. This has been After Hours on Saturday, October the 17th. Dustin, thanks again, brother. Great to have you. Get some sleep. I know you're tired. You got a lot of videos to make this week. Eric says if things go sideways in the NLCS, I'll watch Carlos and Amit Echeverria. If the Braves are winning, it'll be a good night. You can always put on Because I'm Carlos in the background if you have to also, right? Ziggy clarifies baseball. All right, guys. Dustin, hang on 1 second. Everybody else, good night. It's been a fun evening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you back here soon on After Hours and Sports Cards Live.
Thanks, guys.